let you know that if you guys remember, if you were back, when was it that you came?
A year ago.
Okay, so a year ago, I was chasing after a really big low-income housing tax credit development project. And so my career path that I think I was going down was to be a tax credit developer. And I was sitting in the back of the room when Steve was talking. He was telling a little bit about his story, and I realized, like, this is something that I think my husband and I really need to focus on. And I've always been huge on creating goals for myself and chasing after that, but I've always created career goals and not other goals. And so part of us going to this Get a Life event that Steve will tell you about was us focusing on what's more important than just my career goals. So I am happy to introduce you to one of my coaches, Steve Cook, and wanted to let you know that we are so lucky to have him like here, because we were just at an event and there were people from Arizona, California, Baltimore, Alabama, and like people that were coming from all over to our city to hear from Steve. And it's just an awesome thing that we happen to live in the same city as him, and it's an awesome thing that you guys get to hear from him. So if you guys have heard that stat about the 10,000 hours, take someone 10,000 hours to become an expert in something, I think of this mastermind group as being able to tap into resources, but other people that are chasing after different categories, and there are connections that I've made of people doing some amazing things. But to be able to have that network and resources for other people that are doing things like taking a motel and converting it all to affordable housing. So there's connections that I've made of people that I would have never dreamed of, but are also wanting to help support what we're working on. So I'm going to give it over to Steve, and I'm excited for you guys to hear what he has to say.
So this evening, I just wanted to actually update all of you as to what my trajectory has been like here in Knoxville. But before I get started, I just want to ask all of you, how many of you would consider yourself to be new to Knoxville? Okay. So I happen to be one of those new people as well. We moved here not quite 3 years ago. And one of the reasons that I moved here, or I should say the reason that I moved here, was to bring my kids to the Christian Academy in Knoxville. We moved here specifically for the school. We came here from Wisconsin. And so there's a few points that I really want to share with all of you here today, because I came here and never really been to Knoxville before. I drove through a long time, probably 15 years ago, but never spent any time here. And when I made the decision that I was going to move here for my boys, then I just said, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do in Knoxville once I get there. And didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. And I got a little cheat sheet right here. I have done 20 deals in less than 3 years, and I could have done a lot more. However, one of the things that was important to me, and some of the points I want to go over with you, was that my vision says I don't want to be that busy. I'm not out there working really hard and hustling all the time. I'm a father to my kids. I volunteer at the school. We're involved in our church. And so I probably only spend about 5 hours a week when it comes to real estate and real estate investing. And so I want to talk to you about the importance of vision. I want to talk to you also then about the importance of networking, because it was a group like this here that helped me to get up and running. Being a new guy coming into the market, not knowing anybody, I had to be able to tap into others. And then another thing that Kendra touched upon was just the power of mastermind. And when you find yourself in a situation and you don't really know what to do, it sure is helpful to be able to network and be able to bounce ideas off of other people who have already been there. So 3 points that I'm going to try to make for all of you here tonight is the power of vision, the power of networking, and the power of a mastermind. Now, along with that, I want to really just talk through my deals. And I'm hoping that you can get some nuggets as I go through my little cheat sheet right here. And this is really just to help me remember the deals that I have done. you know, we came here in July of 2020. I mean, it's COVID, we're right in the middle of it all. And we are looking for a home for ourselves and trying to find something within 15 minutes of the school that would suit our family's needs was a challenge. Inventory was low then. And, you know, and it's done nothing but get worse since that time. But we went around and we were searching for a house. And I'll tell you, it was one day when I was with my real estate agent, and I should tell you, I called ahead. I went online and I just said, hey, I need a good agent. And I ended up getting a referral for a guy here in the local market. And I've been working with him ever since. I've been doing enough stuff to where I have 2 agents right now, but it was a referral from other investors who had given me this person's name. And that was how we got connected with him. But I was getting so frustrated with trying to find a house that one day I made offers on 2 houses in a day. And he said to me, he said, well, what if you get them both? I said, that's fine. I'll just keep the other one as a rental. I got to get something. And so he knew at that point that I was willing to also buy other stuff. So we ended up buying the house in Farragut. And then shortly thereafter, he said, are you interested in another one in Farragut? There's one I think is a good deal. And I actually went a little bit against what I typically do, and that I was paying a good bit more money, but I could already see the writing on the wall that here's this new guy coming into town. Farragut seemed to be a really hot place, things were moving very quickly, and long story short, I was only living here for a month and I bought my first rental property in Farragut. And I do not, and I've owned rental properties in the past, I do not like being a landlord. And so I needed a property manager, and because it's just not something that, today I think I know enough to be a good landlord. I have enough experience, but I'm not a good landlord. It's just not my personality. And so through networking and asking around, I was referred to an awesome property manager here in town who now is managing our properties for me and taking care of everything. And I love just getting something new and just saying, here, there's another one, and I don't have to do anything except collect checks after that. But the point that I want to make with that is it was through networking, at just coming here. In fact, the referral actually came out of this room. I don't know, has anybody ever heard of Katie Linkis with Freedom Investment Group? Is that, it was at this meeting sometime back that somebody had given me her name. And she's doing a fantastic job of watching them just grow property managers. But the point is, coming to a place like this is where I was able to get that information. I started doing some marketing, and I said, well, I've got to start doing something to make a living. I just put my boys into this expensive school, and I've got to start making some money. And I'm not one who likes to do a lot of mailings and things like that, but I was doing some mailings. And then I got a phone call one day from a guy who had a mobile home in Maryville that he wanted to sell. And I'm getting better. It was Maryville when I first moved here. And I started with Maryville, and I remember calling my real estate agent, told him I was interested in a property in Louisville, and he said, what? I said, Louisville. I don't work in Kentucky. I said, okay. So there was this guy who called me up, and he had inherited a trailer from his brother. And his brother was a contractor, and he had all kinds of tools and everything. And so this trailer is filled with all the tools. The trailer is okay, it's in a mobile home park. But I had, in my entire career, I've been investing now for 25 years, I'd never bought a mobile home before. I knew plenty of people who did, but I didn't really know what to do with a mobile home. It just wasn't where my experiences were. So again, reaching out to and being a part of a community like this and asking people, what do you do? How do you handle the situation with the mobile home park? And what do you do? To make a long story short, I ended up buying the mobile home and the entire estate for $8,000. And when I say the entire estate, I'm talking about all the furnishings, all the tools. He was a contractor. My boys and I, we ended up having a garage sale to try to sell everything. And there was one weekend we sat there out in this mobile home park just selling and selling and selling and selling. We were just driving as much traffic as we could there. We were wheeling and dealing. And I think at the end of that weekend, we ended up selling the last of the stuff. There was one guy who came on up, and he was looking at something. I said, well, if you take that, I'll give you that, this, and that. And I didn't want to take anything with me. I was just trying to bundle it all up. But we sold $13,000. We sold all the stuff for $13,000. And I had somebody who came on out and bought the trailer from me for $13,500. And so we did that in a weekend with just being out there and hustling and getting that done. But we were just sort of cutting our teeth here in this market. I didn't know a whole lot about it. But after spending some time in that mobile home park, I was like, these people are really cool. This looks like it's a great money-making opportunity. I bought a mobile home park. And I think I bought the worst, and I now also learned it's not Blount County, it's Blount County. But I had to learn, but I think I bought the worst mobile home park in Blount County. And about 3 weeks before settlement, I actually went back and renegotiated the deal and said, I'm not buying it until you evict everybody. I want to completely vacant. I don't want a single one of the tenants in that park. And it was a small one, but it was really bad, and it was just deplorable. And long story short, it was just a lot of drug problems and everything in there. So we ended up having every single person evicted from the park, and I just started over. And even after we evicted them, they were still coming back and squatting, and we had to get them out. But we decided then to just start tearing down the mobile homes, and we were building brand new houses on top of the mobile home frame. So we were going all out with really nice tiny houses. And so we're still in the process of finishing that park off, but we're more than 50% done with rebuilding it. And my goal is to make it the nicest mobile home park in Blount County. And so those are a few of the things that I've done. I am networking with some other investors in the area. I have been able to do a couple of loans for people. I've done about 5 hard money loans in the area so far. I did, from the same mailings that I got the mobile home park from, I was able to do buy a house in the 2-1 zip code up around Pleasant Ridge. I bought a house there, did a renovation. Bought it for $185. We ended up doing the renovation. I sold it for $289. I made the net profit on that was about $65,000. But one of the things that Kendra brought up was that inventory is just really low. And sometimes the better way is to go out and create more opportunities. And while I have done 2 fix and flips, and then I'm doing the mobile home park, I decided to shift gears and start buying land and building houses. And so I have 2 houses on the market right now. We have built and sold 5 houses so far, all of them down in Maryville. We have are working in the price points of the 2 that are on the market right now are $679,900 and $719,900. The last 2 that I just sold in the last 45 days, we sold one for $665,000 and one for $779,000. I will just tell you that has been treating us really, really good, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that Kendra brought up. We are going all in. The $779,000 sale, I was all in at around $600,000 for that one. Nice paydays. The one for $665,000, we were all in at $480,000 something. Our buyers are coming from California, Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, New York. They're just, let's see, I've had offers, and a couple of those occasions I've had multiple offers, and they're all from out of state. The renovations that I did, I told you about the one in Pleasant Ridge, 2-1. I had listed that house, and then one of the new constructions in Maryville at the same time, exact same day. We had 2 houses listed. The one in Pleasant Ridge had a 289 price point, had 3 offers on it. All 3 of the people were local. The same weekend, I listed one in Maryville, new construction, and I had 3 offers on it. The 3 in Pleasant Ridge all had financing contingencies. The ones in Maryville were all out-of-state buyers, and they were all cash. None of them had financing. And so one of the things that I want you, and hopefully it's a nugget that you can take away, if you are doing nice houses in the $600,000 to $700,000 range, interest rates are not affecting the sales of those houses. Our buyers are not getting loans. They're paying cash for these houses. Of the last one that I did do, the one at 779.9, they put 50% down. They were fully capable of paying cash, but they didn't want to pay all cash, but they put 50% down. And so that price point seems to be somewhat insulated to what is going on as far as interest rates are concerned. It is the locals who have been living here all their lives who want to buy a $250,000 house or $300,000 house that are being more affected by the interest rates in the upper end. So there's something to keep in mind. But the idea of going out and creating inventory, I think, is something worth seriously considering. If every single person in here went out and just started building houses, there's still not enough. We are not going to be competing with one another. There are so many buyers and so much need for inventory that there's enough opportunity for all of you. Where it's going to come, where the issue is going to come into is buying lots. And lots are not that easy to come by, but here's the beauty of it. And in a number of these cases of my new constructions, I did get good deals on lots, but the majority of them, I paid full retail. I don't even need to go out there and find a good deal on a lot. I just pay full retail for a lot, build a house on it, turn around and sell it and make 6 figures. And so it takes a while. I've built some houses in the past, but it's taking me a lot longer to build them here than it has in the past. But the paydays are still good, the market is still forgiving, and the buyers are coming in and they're paying cash. So these are just some of the things that I want to share with you as far as what I have done. Chris had asked me at the beginning, where am I getting deals? And I said, one of the places I'm getting them is from MLS. And he was like, really? How are you getting them on the MLS? Well, of my 20 deals on here, 9 of them came from the MLS. And so I'm just watching, and I don't even have access to the MLS, but my one real estate agent sent me land leads in the areas that I'm looking for. So every single time a lot or something gets listed, I can just automatically get it in my email. And if it looks good, I move on it right away. And I'll tell you that one day, 2 lots came up in Hardin Valley. They were $25,000 and $35,000. I just called him. I said, start writing the offer. And he said, well, do you want to see them? I said, well, start writing the offer. I'll go out and take a look while you're writing the offer just to make sure that there's something there. But I said, full price will settle right away. And long story short, one of them was really, really steep, and it was a terrible lot. $25,000 in Hardin Valley. I still bought it. The other one was $35,000, was a much better lot and a larger lot. The $25,000 lot, I sold it 2 weeks later for $38,000. And I was grateful because I didn't want to build on that one. But someone else was like, I love that lot. I want to be really creative. But the point is, $25,000 in Hardin Valley is cheap.
Yeah.
It's really cheap. And so I didn't hesitate to buy it. I knew somebody would pay me more for it. And then the other one, I just flipped it for $45,000, and I am lending. This is a guy who's building houses for me. I decided to flip the lot to him, and instead of me working with him and him building the house for me, I'm lending him the money to build a house. So he's going to go into business for himself. He bought the lot, he's going to build the house, and he gets to make the profits, and I get to So, broad spectrum. I've done, everything from rental, mobile home flip, a mobile home park, some loans, new constructions. I have flipped 4 lots right now. 2 properties I bought at auction. And I went to an auction out in Lenore City. It was a waterfront property. And I ended up buying a lot. I feel like I bought the best lot of the day. It was a 55-acre parcel that they had broken down into 11 different lots, all of them waterfront property. And I bought a really, really sweet looking lot. And then I flipped it, and I was mad at myself because I wanted to keep it. And the guy who bought the lot next door to me, he called me and he said, "Hey, I wish I would have bought another one." And I was thinking, well, I wish I would have bought another one too. And but then he said, "What would it take to buy that one from you?" And he just came to my house that evening, wrote me a check for $20,000 just to sign my interest in it to him, and so I did it. But the beauty was, a month and a half later, the parcel next to it was being auctioned off as well, and 5-acre lots on the water, and instead of buying just one, I bought 20 acres the next time. So I have 20 acres on the water in Lenore City right now that I have purchased. There was a house on that property, so I have already sold the house. I'm subdividing 2 acres and the house off, and I'm just going to share you my exact numbers. All in, for 20 acres of waterfront property and a house, hold on, $398,000. And I'm selling the house in 2 acres for $225,000. So I'm keeping 18 acres of waterfront property for $170,000. I don't know how many of you have been out looking at property, but you don't find that around Knoxville. It's 20 minutes from my boys' school. And so to be that close to Knoxville, even to just have 20 or 17, 18 acres for $170,000 in that proximity is almost impossible, let alone waterfront. So it's just getting out there and doing things. But I will, offset much of my expense of buying that just by selling the house off. And the house is a fixer-upper, but 2 acres with a fixer-upper house for $225,000 in Lenore City is a pretty good deal. That matches the numbers that Kendra said that investors are, the average price that investors are paying today for their fixer-uppers. I will tell you, one of where I'm at sort of with things today, and I want to be here to network as well. I really don't want to get very busy, but I do like helping other people, and if there's a way that we can help one another, I'm interested in that as well. My son, he wants to have his first investment property, he wants some cash flow before he graduates. He's going to be a senior next year, but his goal is to have acquired something that's generating cash flow for him before he graduates high school. And so if anybody knows of anything, or you want somebody to be a bird dog, he'll go on out, he'll look at things, but the primary thing that he's been looking at is mobile home parks. And he's been getting some leads on them and doing some marketing for them. But Kendra has been awesome in being willing to talk to him and help him with knowledge that she has as well. But through masterminds, there's people who say, I'll help him. A young guy who wants to do this. He's got people who are mentoring him and teaching him and showing him the ropes. I'm not a mobile home park guy. That's not my experiences. For the most part, my entire career, while I've done tons of things, and I own a little mobile home park right now, I'm not a mobile home park expert. I'm a flipping expert. That is I have flipped over 600 houses in my career, but that is where my expertise are. And I told him, if there's anything you're going to learn from me, don't do what I did. Because I wish I would have held on to a lot more of those houses that I flipped. I wish I would have bought 10 more houses in Farragut when I first moved here. But I didn't have that insight then. So lots and lots and lots of different things that have come together. So I want to just talk a little bit about how a group like this helped me. Before I moved here, I was reaching out and I said, I want to establish a relationship with a good investor-friendly bank. And I knew that getting referrals from other investors who had relationships with banks already was the way to go. And so I immediately came right to the investor community and started asking, who are the investor-friendly banks? And I had gotten a referral before I even moved here. I made contact and said, hey, once I get to town, I'd love to get together with you, work on getting some things set up. I told them what my plans were. And a long story short, within 4 months of moving here, I was set up with a banker, had a line of credit to be able to do the things that I wanted to do. And that relationship is ongoing and continuing today. They will give me a lot more, but I don't want more. You know, my vision says I just want a slow pace, just do enough. I want to be available, not working all the time, and so I don't get too busy. I will tell you, and I don't sit here, and I'm not saying this to brag, while there's 20 deals in less than 3 years on here, this could easily have been 60, 70, if I wanted it to be. And I share that with all of you just to say that the opportunities are out there. And in a room like this, when you sit here and you take the cumulative resources, you mastermind, you network, you figure out how to put things together. The deals are out there. And so I want to just encourage you all in that area. Don't hold back. You can continue to keep on doing this. How many people in here are hoping to do their first deal? Okay, so we still have a number of first timers. How many of you in here consider yourselves to be, you're in the middle, you're working a job and doing some investing? Who's in the middle? Okay, how many of you are full-time investors? Okay, good bit of you, awesome. So we're at all different skill levels, and the people who are in this room who are full-time investors my experiences are very happy to help somebody who is just getting started in the business. If you're out there and you're hustling and you're working hard, if you're going to bring something to the table, people are willing to help you. Understanding that they have the resources that you might need, whether it's expertise or money, you've got to bring something valuable to the table. Sometimes it's hustling, get out there, find a deal. If you can bring a deal to the table, I think everybody in this room will help you. And but you've got to get out there and you've got to find it. If I can come and be a brand new guy in the market who knows nothing about the market, and I have to educate myself on the market and learn the market, and can dig up 20 opportunities in the time that I've been here, you can do it too. You should be able to do it. And there is tons of people in this room who can help you with it. So you get on out there, you start doing things, and you start taking advantage of the resources that are available to you. So I've made great relationships with other investors. I've gotten contractor referrals. I'll tell you that the last time that when I needed a contractor and I came here, I was specifically asking in the room for referrals. And I ended up getting referrals for an HVAC guy who has just been great to work with. We've had our issues or problems with him, but what I mean by great to work with is he does a good job and he is investor friendly. He gives me investor pricing. So I have a new builder who's building a house for me right now. He just told me that the HVAC quote for our house was $34,000. And I said, you gotta call my guy. And he's like, my guy treats me really good. I said, no he doesn't. You gotta call my guy. So then he called my guy and it was $14,000. $20,000 savings. But that $20,000 is because I came to this room and asked a question. I came here. And so, on that note, how many people in here are members of this group, actual members? Good bit. And if I just want to ask some of you, what makes you decide to become a member? What would your reasons be for being a member of this group?
Referral from another group.
So somebody told you that this is the group for you to join and become a member here?
Wasn't quite so concise, but they said get close to the, the group that's in your area. So a few people that's in that group with me, they called out this one. They're new to it as well.
Awesome. What are some of the benefits that you guys get? Who knows the benefits that you get with being a REIA, member of this REIA? Home Depot? So, how many people take advantage of the Home Depot situation? She's excited about hers. Yeah. You Home Depot also?
No, the biggest benefit for me when I joined the REIA some years ago was the networking opportunity. The opportunity to be able to come in and pick the brains of experienced investors and be able to learn and be able to live. So for me, when I joined the REIA years ago, it was the biggest benefit for me getting started in my business as an investor, the opportunity to come to these meetings every month and be able to network, be able to get around different contractors, be able to get around different investors at different levels, experienced, non-experienced, with other investors that were just like me who were trying to get started, and being able to get with each other every month and see where our progress was, and still be able to hear the stories of the experienced investors of what they were going through and what they were dealing with, and being able to pick their brains.
That's awesome. And you're still coming back?
Yes, sir.
That is what that was one of the points I wanted to make, the importance of the networking and being a part of a group like this, and being able to come and pick people's brains, and tap into the resources of the other people in the room. The masterminding, Kendra brought up the masterminding, being a part of a mastermind where you might not even have all the experiences and everything that you need here, but when you're involved with a mastermind, there's almost always somebody who has done something that you've never done, and they got tremendous experience with it. But when you take a group like this, and if this whole group is just masterminding on a regular basis, the collective intelligence of everybody in this group, the wisdom that comes out of this group, you can figure out a lot of things. And so the importance of masterminding. But the one thing that I am most passionate about, I'll come back for a question in just a minute, but the one thing I'm most passionate about is what I do at LifeMare, and that's vision. Because I was teaching people how to flip houses going back 2 decades ago. And at one point, I was one of the most well-known educators in the country when it came to teaching people how to flip. And you were probably following me back then. But I stopped being a flipping educator. People could get flipping education in all different places. I'm passionate about helping a lot of people become very successful at flipping, but their lives were not doing so good. They got so busy, they were so focused on their businesses, and I just thought, that's not why they started flipping. They started flipping because they wanted to live a good life. And so I really focus on helping people to develop a vision for their life and then designing a business that serves that lifestyle, which is why I can come here and do 20 deals in less than 3 years and do that in less than 5 hours a week. And I'm not exaggerating. I might be exaggerating when I say 5 hours. It might be less. And I'm not kidding. I don't work that much because I have really refined what my business needs to look like and putting together the right teams and all that to do that. Here's why I bring that up to all of you, because there's another thing that we want to offer and that Whitney is going to be offering as a new benefit for everybody who is a member of this REIA. And how many of you have heard of Life and Air in the past? Okay, so not too many of you.
Heard of what?
Life and Air? Right there. Like millionaire, but life. Somebody who lives an abundant life. Well, one of the things that we do, we're almost 90% of our community is almost all real estate investors who mastermind together, but we do what we call a Get a Life events, and that is to help you put together a vision for your life so that you can come back and design your business to help you live and experience the life that you want to live. Kendra's been a part of it now, and she's been experiencing it. Chris has been a part of it and experiencing it. I would encourage you at some point or another to talk to them about what their experiences are, but I think Kendra can tell you that it's been transforming for her marriage, it's been transforming for her life and for her business to be a part of something where it is vision focused. For every person how many people in the room are members? Right, okay. So all of you right now, I can tell you that a new membership benefit for all of you is that you can go to any of the Life Fair events for free, just by being a member of the REIA. And the current members. And then anybody who does sign up then for a membership and becomes a member of this REIA takes advantage of all the networking and all the other benefits that come with it. The newest benefit that you're going to get is free attendance to the Life Fair events. And it's just because we're passionate about helping people to live and experience an abundant life and using real estate investing as a tool for doing that. And we have been doing that and helping hundreds, thousands of people really to do that in return. Sometimes they're very experienced when they come in, and we have to help them get their lives in order, that their businesses are doing well, but everything else around them is falling apart. Sometimes people are just getting started, and sometimes they're the easier ones to deal with when they're just getting started because they don't have all the baggage yet. I have two guys who I haven't even had the opportunity to speak with them yet, who are going to be new for me to help them with, but they are doing 60 flips a year. They own 70 rentals. They're young, but all they do is work and work and work. And their marriages are struggling. They don't have relationships with their kids. And the thing for me that's fun is I will turn their lives around. They'll have awesome businesses, and I'll turn their lives around within a year. It might take as much as 2 to unwind a lot of stuff that they did, but they'll be on a trajectory that completely changes everything. We'll get them down to probably working 20 hours a week and making 2 to 3 times as much as what they currently make. Is what happens when you have a vision that drives you, and that's going to be one of the keys. Now, I just want to put out a couple more things here, and then I'm just an open book. I'm really not here to sell any of you anything. I just want to announce the new membership benefit. I will tell you, if you're not a member, this is what you're already getting plus this. Become a member if you're not one. It's, I would encourage you to do that. But going through just a few more things here. I did a rehab flip in Farragut as well. The latest deal, I was supposed to settle on it yesterday, and they had to postpone for the second time. Not my fault, but the seller's fault. This was on the MLS. I'm buying 8/10 of an acre with a mobile home, well, city water, septic, for $35,000. And I can't believe I'm buying mobile homes. I've never bought one prior to living in Tennessee, but what I do know is that $35,000 for a home on a lot, a home needs a little bit of work, is cheap in this market right now. It is dirt cheap. I'm probably going to just keep that one for the cash flow. If I had to spend $20,000 to fix up the trailer, and it's in fairly decent shape, but if I had to spend as much as 20, I think I still have something that's going to rent for us. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I'll probably get $1,000 to $1,200 a month in Lenore City. But here's something I want to put out for all of you: networking. How many of you are marketing and looking for deals? How many of you find the deals that you come across that it's just a little bit too much for you? But it's like that. But if I can get it just a little bit cheaper, I'd buy it. But anybody come across some of those where you just can't quite make it work? Here's what I want to put out there: is I'm at that point in my life where I'm the guy who's willing to pay a little bit more to do less work. I'm willing to buy some of those. If you're finding those deals where it's a $300,000 ARV, it needs very little work, but they got to get 260 or 270, and you just can't make it work at that. I want those today. I'm in a position right now where I really want 2 or 3 of them in the near future, and so I'll just put it out there. You can keep me in mind for those. If you find stuff that's overpriced, not above retail, I'm not willing to do that. I can just go by that, but just give me a little tiny bit. But you can't make it work, I'll make it work, and I'll pay you for those leads. But primarily I want Blount County, West Knoxville, Lenore City, and just somewhere out that way. You bring me stuff out there that I can be in the 250 range, I'm going to be all over those things if, you know, provided it makes sense. But, you know, keep me in mind, I'm not interested, my vision says I don't want to work that hard, so I'd rather pay more to get something that I don't have to work that hard on. If I can put a few bucks in your pocket, I'm happy to do that. If you do find good lots, I'll also pay you for lot referrals. And Maryville, Lenore City, Blount County, you know, that's, I will gladly pay for those if you can bring stuff my way. And see, questions? I know she had a question over there earlier.
You referred to mastermind several times. This is our first visit. We don't really know what.
So the mastermind that I really, when I talk about masterminding, it's actually through Life and Air and our Life and Air community. What we do is we have masterminds. Kendra and Chris are both part of a Life and Air mastermind, and it's really just getting together with a group of people and just, can I get one of you to maybe describe it from your experiences?
Yep, so we have retreats. So we have about 30 people in my group. There's tons of, so there's 13 different groups in the group that I'm in. There's about 30 couples, and it's really interesting because I've been in coaching that's like real estate coaching or investing, and that's what you learn. But when you do the Get a Life, you're creating what you want out of your life, and you're creating your schedule around it, and your group knows what you're going after. So I told you that we're focusing on affordable housing, and they know that I have a buy box of like, I only work in a certain area, and they hold me accountable to when other deals pop up that aren't in my vision or aren't in that box of what I buy. They're like, that's not what you're focusing on, and they make sure that I'm staying on track with what I really want to get out of my life and my vision and stuff like that. So it's really interesting because could be, like you said, marriage advice and business advice and friendships. And one of my friends explained it as, she said, I'm paying for my friendships. And it makes sense because they are awesome networkers, and the people that are in the group are so amazing. And if it was worth just the networking and the friendships alone, it's worth it for me. But I've gotten so much out of it, I can't even explain it. It's just a complete, like, 180 from a year ago of just what I was chasing after this way. It's completely shifted everything, and now I'm so intentional with a lot of things that I'm doing that it's the complete opposite way. It's all American stuff.
So if I can, while Kendra is up here, this is what we have discovered, the importance of having that vision and a life vision. It's, you know what, why did we get into this in the first place? We get into it because we want to have a better life, not because we want our lives to be worse. Yet so many people start businesses for themselves, and then life doesn't get better. They might maybe make more money, but they're so busy with their businesses that everything else is struggling. Our primary focus, and we know this, that if things are good at home, things are a whole lot better in business. And when things are struggling at home, business struggles. And sometimes people try to cover it up, and they work harder and harder in business, and they start trying to grind it out. But if I can just say, one of the biggest turnarounds for you is in your marriage. And once you and your husband got on the same page, now the business is just, the trajectory is, you're trying to figure out how to hold on to this now. This thing's going.
It was one of those things that we were both chasing after separate things, like we're going this way, completely opposite of each other. And when we had that weekend, and Torrance was there, so in Nashville, we went to Nashville for the July, having those moments where I can get on the same page with my husband and realize, like, we're going after the same thing. And I remember telling him, I said, I'm not your enemy. Like, we don't need to fight against each other. I'm honored to my opportunity. But the struggle of business and us running, my husband's a general contractor, and him wanting to do his own thing and me doing this thing, and almost me saying, well, I can use other contractors, or I can flip So just, and him saying, well, I'm gonna call other real estate agents, it's just, it was fine, it's what, but helping us find unity in our marriage and realizing that we have to, in order for us to move forward in our vision, we have to be unified. And our group, like our first time, we said, I want to be, to the group, the sheriff, he said, I want to be held accountable to be a better husband to my wife. And then in January, the business got super hard, and they found out that he wasn't like staying accountable to that, and they nailed him. I mean, I thought we were getting on the plane and we were coming home and leaving halfway through, but at the end of it, my husband's like, this is what I need. I need somebody to hold me accountable to that level of what I was saying I wanted. So just that unity and just having people kind of urge you, say, no, you're not supposed to go after that stuff. This is what you said. And it's all up to you. You can write whatever you want. You get to choose what you're chasing after. But if you don't know what you're chasing, how are you going to get anywhere? And that's the only way I can explain it is like, we were chasing the wrong things, and we weren't chasing the right thing at the right time together.
And I think that is exactly where I want to go with what you were just saying right there, is that when you don't have a vision, you just pursue opportunity. And opportunity will take you in all different directions. And when one spouse is pursuing one opportunity, the other is pursuing another opportunity, the thing was they actually came up with a vision and they got on the same page. And once they did, it's just taking off. It's exploding. Not only is the business trajectory just going off the charts, but their marriage is going off the charts. And I know because I was just with them. And I got to see Lee. And Lee was a completely different person in my opinion. I wish he was here so I wouldn't have to talk about him. But he was a completely different person when I met him the last time from the previous time, and how he has just completely transformed and see their relationship. But the benefit of that, of having a vision that drives your decisions, not opportunities. And so when you have a clear vision, you know what's the right business direction to go in. When you don't have a clear vision, like, so for instance, my vision is I want to be a dad to my boys. My schedule for the next 2 years, as far as what I'm willing to do as far as work, is already planned out because I have every one of their events on the books for the next couple of years, so I won't miss a single thing. And I'm not going to even put myself in that position to where I'm going to miss a game, I'm going to miss an event at school, I'm going to miss an opportunity to serve at the school. I'm not even going to put myself in that position. And so that's what's important to me. So now when somebody says, hey Steve, we got this deal and it's going to take you, 30 hours a week, but you're going to make $1 million, I say, I don't need it. I'm not going to spend 30, I'm not sacrificing that 30 hours a week because the cost of making that $1 million is far greater than what I want it to be. But the flip side of that is when the right deals do come along, I identify them right away. I added up all of my profits, and I'm a new guy in the market. It's just shy of $1 million in profits that I have generated in less than 3 years of being a new guy in the market. That is something that every one of you can do. I didn't know this market less than 3 years ago, but I took advantage of, one, having a vision, took advantage of the masterminds and the people I've talked to, and then networking with groups like this. And I just want to encourage you the value that is here. I started investing 25 years ago, and I sat in a room like this, a new guy who had never done anything. And I would go on in, and month after month after month, I would show up at those meetings, and I would pick people's brains. I would go to the pros in the room, the experts in the room, and sometimes I think I annoyed them, and they didn't want to hear from me because I just kept, but I was just picking their brain. I wanted to know more, but I was always willing to give back. I wanted to help them. And one day, I want to tell you this, one day I finally found a deal where it was a real deal. It was a motivated seller who was crying and begging me to take their home. And when I put that thing under contract, and then I came, and I said, okay, I think I got one. I showed up at the meeting, I think I got one. Now, the people who I was annoying in the past, they were annoying me. They wanted that deal from me. And then one of those guys, he said, all right, you seem like you know what you're doing. Let me take you out and show you what I'm doing. And then he took me out and started showing me. I mean, he had like 12 or 13 rehabs going on at the time. And he started just giving me some more tips and things like that. But I ended up working with him, found him like his next 7 deals. And he was paying me for each one of them. But those kinds of things happen when you're part of a group like this. And so all the different levels of experiences, there's a place for everybody in here. This is a team sport. You can't do this by yourself. I don't do this by myself. If I was doing it by myself, I wouldn't be working only 5 hours a week. But I utilize other people, and I want to share with you a little bit of my heart when I do work with other people. I don't work with other people just to get something out of them. I try to bless other people by giving them my business. And so when I like someone, I want them to be successful as well. I want to share something else with you, and I'm sharing this with you because I want you to have this kind of heart. My goal as a real estate investor, and I had also, when I was in Baltimore, Maryland, I started a real estate investor association like this one. It was my goal for every person who I worked with to help every one of them become a millionaire. I wasn't focused on me, but I knew that if I can make every single person in the room a millionaire, I surely was probably going to be one also, just by being around everyone else. But just having that attitude, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. And if you all came here with that kind of heart all the time, where you were going to do what you could to help the people around you be successful, everyone in here is just going to explode. And but if you're coming here just for what you can get from people, I promise you, it's not going to get the same results as if you come in here willing to help give back to others.
One other thing, before I is you did all of those deals without being a general contractor and without being a real estate agent. So a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm not a contractor, I can't build spec houses. You were paying a contractor and paying a real estate agent their fees to do their job and still making that much profit, which is awesome. So that's one of the things.
And I don't negotiate my fees with my real estate agents or anything like that. I feel that because I want them to be blessed. I want every person who works with me to be paid well, because then they want to keep working for me. And so, anybody have any questions for me?
The world is a very small place, and what goes around does come around, and it works.
You need a microphone?
No.
There's more powerful than I am nowhere in the mic. That's awesome.
You said if you found some deals, we didn't want to talk to you, how we got hold of you?
Steve at whitewater.com. Yeah, I'm, you know, if you can bring me stuff, right at this very moment, I definitely want 2, maybe upwards of 4 more single families. So I'm sitting on a good bit of cash at the moment that I want to park.
So what is your price range?
I will buy anything if it makes sense.
Okay.
So now there are certain, you know, right now I'm looking for a rental, so from that perspective, I want stuff that's going to cash flow and make sense from that perspective. But I've been known for, people would always say to me, you know, Steve, is there anything that you won't buy? I always make that statement, well, I'll buy anything for the right price. And when I was in the Baltimore market, I bought 12 different houses in that market that I paid only $1,000 for. And people would say to me, you know, you're crazy, how'd you get them for $1,000? I said I didn't want them. But the sellers were begging me to make offers. And so I said, well, I don't really want your house. I said, I'll give you $1,000 for it. And I had 12 different people tell me that they would take my $1,000. And I lost money on one of those. But I have, you know, I'm not of that same mindset anymore. I don't want to do that. But when I was really in the flipping, wholesaling mode, there was nothing. I would make an offer on every single thing. And just, if I bought it cheap enough, it was a deal. So I did one time offer somebody, I offered to take their house from them if they gave me $5,000. And if they would have done it, which I know somebody who has pulled that off, I never did, but if they would have given me $5,000, I would have come to the REIA and said, I'll give the house away for free, and I'll put the $5,000 in my pocket and give the house to somebody. But yeah, from that perspective, I wrote an article a long time ago that if you're a wholesaler, I said an offer a day makes the bill. An offer a day keeps the bill collectors away. If you're always making offers, you're going to buy houses. And the less I want the house, the less I offer. But I never would go out and look at a house and not make an offer. I make an offer on every single thing. So I'll share another quick story with you. As I would teach people how to go out and buy houses, and they're struggling, I would ask them, how many offers did you make last week? And oftentimes it was, most of the time, 0. You're not going to buy a house if you don't make offers. If they did make offers, it was 1 or 2. I'd say, how many houses did you look at? They'd say, I looked at 20 of them. And I said, well, the difference between you and I is you looked at 20 houses and you made 2 offers. If I look at 20 houses, I'm going to make 25 offers because I'm going to make offers on all of those and 5 others that I didn't look at. The key, especially if you're a wholesaler, is offers, 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 offers. You gotta make an offer. And if you're of that mindset where you look at 20 houses and you make 2 offers, you're making offers on the same 2 houses that everybody else who looked at those 20 houses. You're getting emotional. You're picking the house that you want, the one that you think is going to work. And the reality of the situation is you don't know which one is going to work out. And so I make offers on all of them just to, see who's engaging me, and then that's when you start spending more time. Does that make sense, anybody?
Yep.
What do you feel right now is the average ARV percentage for this area?
So I don't understand what you mean by that.
In other words, let's just say
what
you
would
had
you
a-
be buying for?
Let's say the ARV for a house is 300,000. What percentage would you start working off of right away at the discount price to buy it at?
I'll tell you, like, if you bought me, let's say Farragut as an example, and you bought me a house that was, needs a little bit of work, 300,000 ARV, and you could get it for me for 270, I'd probably be all over that right now.
What would be more like the standard? I understand. You're looking for
Oh, if I'm looking to flip it,
yeah.
I'm always a 65% guy.
Okay. And one other question. I'm new to the area a little bit longer than you, but I just got in this business. What did you do to familiarize yourself with the market?
So this I did right from the very beginning, and I'm talking the beginning of my career, and I had to repeat it when I moved to Wisconsin, and then I had to repeat it again when I moved here to Tennessee. But when I first got started in the business, and I can't emphasize this enough for anyone, we didn't have the internet available to look at listings and stuff the way we do today, or Zillow didn't exist. But I used to go to my real estate agent and just get them to print out listings. Now, the typical beginner investor walks in when they go to their real estate agent and they say, hey, listen, I want to buy some fixer-uppers. Can you go ahead and find me some fixer-uppers and send me the listings for that? And here's my criteria. Let me give them the criteria. And then those investors are getting frustrated because they're not getting anything. They're not getting enough to look at. I used to go in and I'd say, give me everything. This part of town. And so they would print stuff out and I would walk out of there. I'd have like 500 listings. And I would feel like a kid in a candy store going through those listings. And I studied them and I studied them. I was studying the full retail stuff. I was studying the fixer-uppers. I was studying everything to develop my market knowledge. What ended up taking place was I ended up knowing the market better than anybody in the Baltimore. And there was thousands and thousands and thousands of investors in that Baltimore market. But because I knew the market so well in the certain areas, I didn't know the entire market, but the pockets that I started getting to know when something would come available, whether it was a referral, whether it was MLS, whatever it might have been, I sometimes even knew what the block looked like. I knew exactly what the prices were, and I could move very quickly. Well, the one thing I did do when I moved here to Knoxville was I studied and I studied and I studied and I studied and I studied studies. And I was just searching through all the listings. I was looking at what the retail prices were. For the most part, all of my new construction right now is down in Maryville. And, you know, I got to know that, that area pretty well, the pocket that we're building in. And while I know enough about Hardin Valley, just the proximity in West Knoxville and Farragut, and when I saw lots for 25 or 35, I knew it was a deal, just because of I knew what other lots were selling for. That, you know, the last time a lot sold for $25,000 in Hardin Valley was years ago, and you know, I couldn't go wrong buying it. So to have that kind of market knowledge just from studying the market, there aren't shortcuts to that, and I don't. That's one area where I would highly encourage people is to do your due diligence, study. The more you know about it, the quicker you can move when a deal does come available. One of the advantages that I have, where in the areas where I do know, is that when something does come up, if you don't know it, you're starting to do your due diligence. I'm already putting it under contract while you're trying to figure it out. And so knowing your market, and sometimes it means studying a number of different pockets of town, and then eventually you get one and you land in that certain spot and you become an expert, and you just stay focused in that one area. So for instance, I know nothing. You know, my world is Cedar Bluff and the West. My kids go to school in Cedar Bluff. I think Whitney was bringing something to my attention on the east side of town. I don't know anything. I got a wholesaler who calls me every once in a while and says, I got something in Strawberry Plains. I'm like, I don't know anything about Strawberry Plains. I can't help you out there. But I just don't know that area, so I just don't go there. I stick with what I know. And but if I was just getting started out here again, and that's where the leads were coming to me from, I would probably might be an expert in Strawberry Plains, and I wouldn't be looking to buy stuff in Maryville or something like that. It just, I tell people when you're first getting started, throw a lot of crap at the wall, and then what sticks, then you start to get really good in those areas, and you'll find that you'll start working more and more in those particular neighborhoods. Any other questions?
Do you buy mostly just like ready-to-go lots, or do you sometimes develop piece of land and do utilities and all that?
I vowed and I lied, said I would never develop again. I don't like development. My preference is to buy turnkey lots. I did do successfully did a small development after I said I would never do it again in Wisconsin. And then I am doing a little tiny subdivision. I wouldn't consider it development because I'm not coming in and putting in roads, water, and sewer. But I do know people who would, and it's just not me. I prefer, I'm lazy. I prefer easy. So, okay.
How long has it taken you to do the units, like the new construction?
How long? So we have had anywhere from the best one so far has been 8 months, and we've had up to 13 months.
What was the question again?
How long has the construction been taking us? So, the first time I was building houses, in my career while I was in Baltimore, I built 2 houses in Baltimore, and I trudged through both of those. It was a learning experience. And for the record, for a guy who had done a ton of renovations and flips, I much prefer new construction today. New construction is a lot easier than flips, from the perspective that you know what you're getting. I don't mind doing a flip, but once I got the new construction thing going, the hardest things for me to overcome was like, I don't know how to get the hole in the ground and to get the basement and the foundation and everything in place. I could take a house that's gutted down to the studs and had no problem with that. And I always thought, if somebody could just build me the foundation and frame it up, then I'll take it from there. It's easy. And it's a prime opportunity in this market that we are in right now, because the inventory is just so low. You can go out there and build houses, and there are people lining up to buy them from you. So, you know, the key to what I look for is lots in $600,000-$700,000 neighborhoods. I'm gonna share this with you, and you're gonna all think this is crazy, but this is what has happened. The homes that I'm building right now are the exact same floor plan that I was building when I was in Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, I started building these houses in 2013. I was building 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranchers with a basement. And I was finishing off a lot of those basements. And my finished price of those houses was about $48 a square foot. I was building those homes for around $140,000. Now, keep this in mind. They were builder grade. And the town that I lived in, we had to be a builder grade. I'm building those exact same houses today and selling those for $679 a year. I'm not building them for $48 a foot. One, we had to go up on all the finishes and everything to justify $600,000-$700,000, but it's the same houses, the same floor plan that I was selling for. The first ones I sold from the 180s, and then I was selling for, we kept working up, we're at 239, 269, 289. 289 was the most expensive I had ever sold one for in Wisconsin. And I can't build them for 289 or even close to that today. I'm spending over 400 building them today. And so when I was talking to you about my all-in prices, that includes my lots as well. So, you know, the one that we just did for $665, we were all in at $485. And that one, my builder went way over budget. And I gave him I got lazy, I gave him some autonomy. And I said, let your wife pick the colors. Let your wife, you know, what do you want here? I said, let your wife pick them out. That was a mistake. She was putting stuff in, and then she'd come back and say, oh, I don't like that, tear it out. Let's get this up. I was like, what are you doing? You know, this isn't a custom house. So we were putting stuff in, paying to take it back out, going buying something else that was more designer, and then putting it back in, and we probably went about $30,000 to $40,000 over budget on that one.
How the ones you built, how many do you hold on to and got one for?
None of them. I think the price points are just too high to hold these. In Wisconsin, I held a couple of them, but when I was building 8 to 10 of them a year there, and so in those cases, I was like holding on to one a year just to offset some of the taxes that I was making on those, but nothing here. I haven't built anything to hold here.
You said your costs were like between $450,000 to $600,000, right, for your building structural labor?
Say that again?
For the ones that you built here.
Yeah.
450 to 600 is your cost price?
Yeah, that's all in, that's everything. That's the general contractor, that's my closing cost, that's my real, so. I'll tell you who he is, but he won't work for anybody else. That's my deal with him at this point. His name is Charles Smith with Faith Rock Construction, and he's probably been here for a little bit longer than I was. So when the two of us connected, his ability, you know, being licensed and his ability to build a house, along with my expertise and having done it before, and being able to bring the resources to the table, it's been a good partnership. But I told him, I'll just be a lender from here on out, and then your wife can do whatever she wants to do with your money.
What square footage is most popular?
So the ones that we're doing right now, we are right around 3,400 square feet of finished space. I am doing, there are 1,800 square foot ranchers on the main level, and then we're doing full basements, fully exposed with 9 to 10 foot ceilings, and we're finishing off in the basement. So by the time we finish with them, there are 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, full family rooms, perhaps an office or a media room in the basement. And for that, if I pull the lot and everything out, that house I could probably build with higher end fixtures, 350 to 360 range. And if we want to come back and peel back on the fixture some, we can still build that house probably around 300. But we'll put in lesser finishes and stuff in that. We did have one The one that I just sold for $779 was much more like your custom home. And Blount County had approved us for our septic permit, and then when we were getting ready, we started digging the hole, and they told me I couldn't put in a house that we wanted to. And the inspector kept on telling us that as we were putting in the basement, it was affecting our septic field and some cut bank thing. And then we went back and forth. And said, well, I'm not approving it, you gotta do something else. So I just went online real quick and found different plans. And it looked like it was simple, but it wasn't. And it was a lot of square footage. It was an incredible house, absolutely spectacular house when it was all said and done. But after we got going and the inspector came back out, then he looked at it and he said, oh, you were right, you could have built what you wanted. So I said, would you like me to bring your neck back? So, and then he said, trust me, I've been building. I said, so have I. I've built this house many times before. I know what I'm doing. He was like, I know what I'm doing.
But dude.
Would you consider giving loans for new builds?
Would I do loans for new builds? I just did one, and I will say that I'm not looking to actively take on new people because the people I'm working with, all my resources, I pretty much have committed to them. Doesn't mean that I won't consider something, but it's my recommendation for anybody, if you're going to do new builds, is really not to borrow private money from somebody like me anyway, because that'll cost you a lot more. I think that if you establish the relationship with the right banks, and on that note, I literally just sat down with an investor a week ago, and I've done this for people many times in the past, how to structure your deals in such a way when you can establish yourself as a small community bank, and that's the kind of banks that you want to look for, a small community ones. They are ideal for working with when it comes to doing new construction and things like that. They'll call them construction renovation loans. They typically, and I know you're in the back, so correct me if I'm wrong, but typically they're going to do about 80%, 75 to 80% of the value of the finished project will be the total loan. If you're purchasing a renovation of a house, it's going to be 75 to 80% of the purchase price that they'll lend you at the time of purchase. If you're buying a lot, they'll give you 75 to 80% of the lot. You do have to come up with down payment money. Now, one of the things that we have always done in the past, we've structured it, and I'm going to share a trick with you, and we'll see how the bankers in your field, but every banker I've ever worked with actually endorses this. I'm going to draw it on here so you have a visual, because these numbers make sense to me, but you might not get it. I'm going to use round numbers. Let's, for argument's sake, say you're buying a lot that is $100,000 and you're selling it out for $500,000. So this is a little small to all of you. Let's say that your construction cost on this particular home is going to be $250,000, and so can everybody see that economy here? The construction cost is $250,000. Buying a lot for $100,000. Construction cost is $250,000. And it's a house that will sell for $500,000. At the time of settlement, when you go in to purchase this lot, you're going to have to put $20,000 down. Now, I try to help investors to save solvent and keep money in their bank all the time. If great when you do have money, but the guy who I was just sitting down with, he's here from Knoxville, he's doing a flip in South Knoxville right now, and he was getting ready to buy another house. He took every bit of his cash and put it into his first flip, and he's trying to figure out how do I buy this other house. And I told him, and I've told him in the past, you need to sit down with me, and I'm going to show you how to do this. First of all, you don't want to wrap all of your own money up in your house. You need to keep your money in the bank, because that's what keeps you a good investor. Too many investors put all their money wrapped up into their houses, and then they're broke. And then when something goes wrong, or they can't pay contractors, their projects get dragged along. And so the goal is to keep your money in the bank. If you're gonna already be borrowing money, you might as well borrow as much as you can, and keep your money in the bank so that if ever anything goes wrong, you can pay the extra $10,000 for the state, or you can make your payments on your loan and keep your project moving. And because ultimately, no one makes money in real estate until your project's 100% done. And so you've got to see it through to the end. If you're only getting it to 80 or 90%, you're going to struggle. So in this scenario right here, if you walk into the bank and you say, I'm purchasing this lot for $100,000 and my construction cost is $250,000, they're going to tell you that, well, we will give you $80,000 at the time of purchase of the lot. So their loan is going to be for $80,000. And then almost every instance, with few exceptions, they'll lend you 100% of your construction cost for $250,000. And so you're going in and you're asking for a $330,000 loan. And to them, that makes a lot of sense if this house is worth $500,000 when it's fixed up. But in this particular case, you're taking $20,000 of your money, you're wrapping it up in here, and let's just say you only have 40, but you're taking 20 of your money, you're wrapping it up in this project right now, and now you still have 20,000 in the bank, still something there that you can get things done. But what I always have done is I don't go in and tell the bank that my construction cost is $250,000. My sale price is $500,000. If they will go up to 80%, they'll go as much as $400,000 for the total loan. If they'll only go 75% on it, it'll be a little bit less. Most of the time, it's going to be 80%. So the total loan they're comfortable with is going in upwards of $400,000. And so if that was how much I needed and everything made sense, they would be willing to do that. Instead of only going in and asking for $330,000, I go in and I ask for more. If I get my construction done at $250,000 and I ask for $270,000, not only did I cover my construction, but I can recoup my $20,000 that I put into the deal and keep my money in the bank. And the right environments, and once you start to develop relationships with some of these smaller community banks, some of them will even, this number's great, yes, just ask for $270,000 for construction, and they might even finance your interest payments. I've had banks who would do that before, where they said there's plenty of room in it, we're just going to estimate your interest payments, and we'll just pull that out. And so I've done deals where I never had to make a single payment on them. I just called up the contractors to get the job done by done, call my real estate agent, list it, agent lists it, sells it, and I just go pick up a check, and I never get a payment on that. And the entire construction area is funded from the draw schedules with the bank. And so learning how to structure things, do I still have everybody understand where I'm going with this? So I'm doing a good job. Everybody's nodding their head. Sometimes it is a little bit head, and I'm trying to do this. But my goal is I would like to have a lot of cash in the bank because it makes me a really strong investor. And I use it sometimes to buy properties to get into them real quick. But my goal is always, how do I get my money back in my bank account? Or I'll use it, I'll put $50,000 or $100,000 down on a property, but then how do I recoup my money as quickly as I can? And if the numbers make sense and I can add it into my loan, because at the end of the day, if I add in another 20 here and the bank is lending me $350,000, they're still only at 70%. And that's a fantastic loan for the bank. they are very comfortable with that. And so these are just some, strategies of knowing how to structure your deals the right way, so that if you do have to put money into them, and then you can pull your money back out along the way, sometimes you might need that money anyway. Maybe you over budget, and it's nice that you put a cushion in there. If you only ask for $250 and it costs you $270, then you get hard if you don't have any of your money left in the bank. And so when you are going to utilize bank money, if you're already borrowing, borrow to the point where the bank is comfortable. As high as we can go. And I'm a person who's against debt. I don't really like having debt, but my philosophy is if you're going to borrow, borrow. Don't be. So some people who have this philosophy of they don't want to have debt, they try to borrow as little as they can, and that gets them into more trouble because they didn't get enough. So even when I do loans, you ask me if I would do loans. When I do loans for people, I prefer to give them more money to make sure that they're solid, because I know that if I get in a road and I take all their money out of their account, then my deal is compromised. I would rather lend them everything that they need and let them keep their money in their account so they can cover any mistakes or make their payments to me, than to drain their accounts and leave them with nothing.
Who's your bank?
Same thing. Huh? Same thing? Yeah. Chris Osborne. And then I have a Citizen Bank. I've done something with them too. So I have all lines of credit at Bank. So the property is my Farragut property, my mobile home park, our personal residence. We own all of three at this point, so just using lines of credit against them. Anything else? How am I doing with time?
You're doing awesome. When's your next mastermind? Yeah, that's a good question.
I think you guys need to have one here. I would say before you even consider those masterminds, take advantage of getting to the Whitney event. Without a vision, you would feel like a fish out of water in those masterminds. And it's developing a vision. That is I can't even begin to express how powerful that is. With that in mind, just how. So I know not too many people have heard of this before. Not that long ago, I was in a real estate. I went to a conference, a real estate conference, and I was wearing a shirt. And people came up to me and they're like, "That's an awesome book. I love that book." And we were just sitting there, and we were talking, and then they said, "So what do you do?" I said, "I wrote the book." This book took me about 9 years to write because I wanted to get it right. And I would say that everybody in this room who is a member will get a copy of this tonight. And anybody who isn't a member and signed up to be a member, you'll get a copy of this tonight. And you'll also get free admission to any of our Life Nerd events. We do two different events. One of them is called Get a Life, and that is for developing your life vision. And the other event is our Business Builders event. And that is how to now build a business that suits your vision for the life that you want to live. And it's about transforming your business so that it's a business that serves you. So one of the things that we always say is that there's a lot of times people build their business, but they give their life to their business in hopes that someday their business gives them their life back. And we flip-flop that. We build a business that gives us life. And
I want to add to this that I read the book before I met Steve, and I was able to write my vision statement. And y'all know I told you last month that I've been selling some houses, I've been selling some apartments, and people ask me why. Why do you do that? Because, and I'll tell you that our goals are different, our vision is different, but goals and vision are different, okay? The goals you make for yourself might not be what's on the vision. When you work through the book, you work through the Get a Life weekend, you go to the Business Builder weekend, you do all those things, suddenly your vision becomes crystal clear. So when you ask me while I'm selling my stuff, it's not because I'm broke, it's not because I'm, you know, going crazy, which might be true, but it's not any of those things. It's because these properties don't fit my vision. Y'all see my little dude here earlier? All right, I can pull up my vision on the laptop. I wrote it out. I showed everybody last year when I was here. I've got a vision written out, and I woke up one day and went, oh crap, I got a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit my vision. What are we gonna do? Get rid of it. So I can focus where I need to focus, right? And that's what I'm selling. Nothing wrong with nothing. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But I'm trying to, like Kendra did over the last year, refocus my vision instead of my goals, what I thought my goals were, my business goals, my life goals, all those things. No, I've got a vision and I got a plan. And like Steve said, I don't want to miss any of these things. And those are the distractions. So we're getting rid of those so we can focus on what we need to focus on. It's the vision. And I want to tell you all that having that typed out and that written out, and I can go and look at it, and I can pull it up for you now, and I've got little comments out beside it, everything. It is so important so that when an opportunity comes up, because there's lots of opportunities out there, but when it pops up, you go, does this check out? Is it the group that's going to hold you accountable to say, is this a distraction or a real opportunity? Am I supposed to be moving on this, or am I supposed to say this is somebody else's and pass it on? So important. What's in this book, what this man knows and can help you learn and know about yourself, you can't replace it. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it to everybody, and that's why we partner together to make sure that we can give this to everybody. All right, we have the same mission in that. Tyrone's shirt says he's called to serve, and on the back there's a verse on it. We're here to serve you, we're here to help you, we're here to help you get to your best life ever as fast as possible. Right?
That's it. I'm not here to even sell you anything today. I want to give away books, and give away tickets, and just get you guys start moving in that direction.
Having your goal, having your vision written down is exceedingly important.
Yes. I love it. I have it written in a hand copy. I read the book on a plane ride to a mastermind event, and on the plane ride back, I wrote it out in my handwriting, and then I typed it out so I can look at it anytime I want to. I love it. I love my vision.
I understand one or two people in the room signed up for membership today.
Yes.
Who signed up for membership today?
Jordan signed up since we've been here. Yay! Hey, you signed up? We have pen? I got markers here. Let me have it back. Come here, Jordan. He's got a camera.
I bought the book on Amazon like 4 times to send it to friends. So I got 3 and I signed up to get mine last year, and then I've already bought it 4 times to friends.
The book's amazing. Here. Snotty! Yay! Yay!
So, I just want to encourage all of you, make the most of the group, network, everything you need is in this room. If it's not directly in the room, someone in here knows where to go for it. And real estate investing has treated me very well. It's afforded me the opportunity to do the things I'm doing with my boys. I'm going to be all over the place going to college visits with him. I helped him pull off his first deal. I don't know how to pull off a mobile home park, but I know people who do. And he's got some great mentors who are helping him out with that right now. And if I can do it, if he can do it, so can everyone on the team. So that's all I got. If you guys,
Thank you so much, Steve.
all members, I'll hand you guys a book. I'll be happy to sign it. Whitney will keep you all abreast of when our upcoming library events are. She'll probably just tell you, but for the members, she'll regularly let you know and, get together with others in the group and go together. There's the natural group typically has like 8 or 10 people from their group who all go together to library events at a time. They don't just do it where one person, they go get together and say, hey, let's all go, and they all go. And it's a life-changing experience when they do that.
It's a Thank you, Steve. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all so much. And while the questions, Steve, there's a brochure. You can go to, what is it, KnoxREIA.com, and I think it says join at the top. It's the orange button, and it'll give you everything that you get. You get the Home Depot rebates, you get the Life and Air events, and we've got some other goodies, because those are the two biggest things, and that's worth, it's $197 a year, and those two are worth $197 a month. Yeah, for sure. But you can get on the website, or Miranda and Kendra, Jennifer, all the ladies over there, they've got it pulled up on a link that you can grab it tonight. Absolutely. Awesome. Any other questions y'all have for me? Y'all make sure you talk with Steve, talk with each other, and we're not meeting in July. We'll see you in August.
You want to turn that off?
Yeah.
Oh my.